and welcome to Let's Help the Little Red Hen Out virtual show and tell. My name is Laura Askell. I'm the Ag Ed Farm Manager with Metro Parks of Butler County. Now, many of you know the story about the Little Red Hen. She planted wheat seeds, she let it grow, and then she asked all her friends to help her take care of those wheat seeds. But did any of them help her? No. So when she was all done, she got to make the bread and she got to eat it herself. Ooh, talking about fresh baked bread makes my tummy grumble. Well, hopefully you learn a lesson from reading that book, that if somebody asks you for help, we should all help and pitch in so that we can all enjoy and reap the rewards afterwards. So now for this program, we're going to learn a little bit about that wheat that the Little Red Hen planted, and then we're also going to get a chance to go visit our Little Red Hens here at Chisholm Historic Farmstead. Let's go! So wheat is a grain that many of us take for granted. If you have driven around Butler County, you probably have seen a wheat field, but may not have known that it was actually wheat. So what does wheat look like? Well, here is a picture of a green wheat field. This is what it looks like when it's still growing. There are lots of varieties of wheat grown in the U.S., but they are grouped into 6 classes based on their hardness, the color, and the time of year they were planted. The 6 classes are hard red spring, hard red winter, hard white, soft red winter, soft white, and durum. Here is a picture of what the wheat looks like before it is harvested or picked. Why do farmers grow wheat here in Ohio? Let's see. If you like to eat different kinds of breads, maybe some crackers, pretzels, maybe the crust on your pizza, or those delicious garlic breadsticks, and of course different kinds of pasta, then you should thank a farmer because they are growing the crops that go into these and many more foods and other byproducts too. So what part of the wheat plant do we use to make our flour? Here is a wheat kernel or seed. You may also hear it called a berry too. It is enlarged so you can see how complex one kernel is. The large inner portion of the kernel is called the endosperm. That's the part that we grind to make white flour. The hard outer coating is the bran, sometimes used in cereals, muffins, and breads. This portion is made up of many layers. Finally, the tiniest part of the kernel is the germ. It's the part that grows into a new wheat plant if the kernel is planted in the soil. Whole wheat flour is made when the whole kernel is ground or milled, and whole wheat flour contains all 3 parts of the kernel. So why do we sow or plant wheat in the late fall? Doesn't it die in the winter? Well, no, because the wheat will grow a little bit and then stops growing when it gets too cold, but it doesn't die. It goes through something called vernalization. Vernalization is when the plant has to be in cold temperatures for a certain length of time so that it can continue growing in the spring when it gets warm. Can you tell which side of this field was planted in October versus planted in March here at Chisholm? Now, wheat is harvested by a giant machine called a combine, which cuts, separates, and cleans grain all at the same time. Now, when the hopper inside the combine gets full, it is then loaded into a truck. Then the grain is hauled to a storage bin on the farm or maybe to one of these grain elevators in town. Notice the tall cylinder-shaped buildings? The grain is emptied into a pit and then it gets raised or elevated into one of those tall bins. From the elevator, the wheat is sent by train or truck to a mill. Can you tell which mill in this picture was built in the 1800s versus the 2000s? So besides making flour from wheat, there are a lot of byproducts too. You might be surprised which ones are made from wheat. How about cosmetics or makeup, or forks and knives and spoons? Wheat paper, laundry soap, even goldfish food. And of course, livestock feed has wheat in it too. So besides flour and byproducts, we also use the stalks from wheat as straw. Straw is used for animal bedding, landscaping, and other construction projects. And we also use it for straw bale gardening. But we're going to save that topic for another show and tell later on.
Hello everyone. Now I know you guys have been learning a lot about wheat. Now flour comes from wheat. Now this is a special type of flour called wheat flour. And today I'm going to show you guys how to make Play-Doh from flour. Now I'm going to show you guys what ingredients you need. So you need 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of salt, 1.5 cups of warm water, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. Now you don't necessarily need this, but it does help with the elasticity of the Play-Doh.
Now you'll notice in the bowl that Alita has already added the wheat flour, the salt, and the water. And now she's adding her 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil and then 1 tablespoon of the cream of tartar. And she will mix it all together.
Now it's time to stir it all together. You can start with your hands or with the spoon. Now if your Play-Doh is still a little too dry, you can add spoonfuls of water, but be careful not to overwater your Play-Doh. You can store it in an airtight container or plastic bag, and if you would like to add color to it, you are more than welcome to do that with some food coloring. Now this is the wheat flour that I had, but this is the all-purpose white flour that I used instead of the wheat flour. See the difference? Thank you everyone for coming out and joining me on making Play-Doh. Have a good day.
So we have 2 red hens that reside here at Chrysostom Historic Farmstead. One lives in Deluxe number 1 with 2 cuckoo Moran hens. These are the 3 girls that you see right here. The other red hen lives in Deluxe number 2 with an Australorp and an Easter egg hen. Both of our red hens are sex-linked chickens, also called star-linked chickens. Haven't heard of this breed? Well, that may be because it's a hybrid. Well, what does that mean? That just means that they're not pure breeds. The desired genetic traits of both of their parents will only show up in the first generation. Star-linked chickens are desirable as a dual-purpose chicken. That just means people raise them for both meat and for eggs. We raise ours as pets. Now you may notice that some of our hens in these videos may appear to be a bit dusty. That's because on nice, warm, sunny days, they like to make dust baths. Here is one example right here. So now genetics can be hard to follow at times, so let's make it as simple as possible. Why would anyone want a hybrid red star-linked chicken? The reason this chicken is developed is because it is color sexable when hatched. In most breeds, it is difficult, if not impossible, to determine if a day-old chick is a boy or a girl, but not star-links. The male star-link hatched with yellow feathers. The female star-link hatches with a buff or a brown color, more resembling their father. And here the girls just went inside their hutch. This is where they sleep and perch at night. And here they come right back out again, in and out all day long. That's also where their nesting boxes are, and that's where they lay their eggs. Remember, you don't have to have a rooster for a girl hen to lay eggs. We do not have any roosters at our farm. Now, the parents of starlings are pure breed chickens from different breeds which are carefully selected for their qualities to carry through the next generation. Now, when it comes to different types of starlings, the possibilities are numerous. An example is a Rhode Island red rooster crossed with a silver-laced Wyandotte hen. A red starlink is created by crossing a rooster that carries the red gene with a hen that carries a silver gene. Here are the girls that live in Deluxe number 2. Now remember, the starlink chick is always going to be a first-generation hybrid cross. You cannot breed 2 first-generation starlink hybrids to create a second generation with the same qualities. It just doesn't happen. Now our 2 red hens enjoy living at the farm, especially when friends come out to visit. So come and see them underneath the overhang of the red barn any day of the year. Thanks for joining us for Let's Help the Little Red Hen Out virtual show and tell. Come on out to Chrysostom Historic Farmstead any day to visit with the little red hens that we have here. And I also want you to keep an eye out on the rye field that's growing, and rye is a very similar grain to wheat that we have in the front field at Chrysostom. Our next virtual show and tell is scheduled for Thursday, April 1st at 10 o'clock, and it's titled Yolks and Yolks. Try saying that 5 times fast. If you can't visit us at that time, don't worry. You can go to our website at yourmetroparks.net, and if you go to log off, shut down, get outside, you can view all of our virtual show and tells at your own leisure. Thanks everyone, and see you in the parks.